Hello and good morning to you. This is Dr. Bill Bledsoe bringing you another practice session of Sacred Heart Yoga from our home, which we call Spirit on the Wind in the sleepy town of Chesney, South Carolina. If you're new to Sacred Heart Yoga, there's a couple of things that are really important. One is the movements are to be done only if they don't hurt you. They are there to help you to stretch your ligaments, to bring back kind of your youthful flexibility. But if you hurt by any of them, or if any of them don't feel right, don't do them. You can actually get as much out of Sacred Heart Yoga by sitting in a chair and doing the prayers aloud. The second thing is, the prayers are, I begin the prayers. You must finish them from your heart. They must be your heartfelt prayers, not mine, not anybody else's. The third thing is, we refer to God as the Father, as the Mother, as God, and they're all one and the same. They're all just different aspects of human perceptions of something much bigger than us. And then the last thing, if you're new to Sacred Heart Yoga, is that we tone at the end of each of the prayers. I begin them, you finish them, saying them aloud, and then we tone at the end. Toning means saying the word Om, O-H-M, at a frequency that resonates in your own mind and your own head. We'll practice 3 times just so you can figure out what works best for you. Om. 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 Now I'll begin it with prayer. God, I thank you for this ancient method of praying, this method of praying aloud our heartfelt prayers, communing with you, of body movements to heal our bodies as our prayers heal our minds, our spirits, and our souls. I thank the generations that have brought this to us, from the house of Abraham, the house of David, from Jesus, his mother Mary, his father Joseph, Mary Magdalene, and Virginia Ellen, who wrote the book so that anybody in the world can practice Sacred Heart Yoga anytime they want. Now, if you'll repeat after me, we'll say the Sacred Heart Yoga prayer. Beloved, I devote this practice this day to the evolution of my soul, to the fulfillment of my destiny, in service to the One. And I allow myself to be purified. As I rejoice in the kingdom of heaven and the love of God. And I give thanks for these blessings, these moments I share with my body and my spirit in oneness. And so it is. Amen. Om. Now, the next thing we're going to do is clear our minds of distractions, of things that might keep us from concentrating on our prayers. And we do this in Sacred Heart Yoga by taking our right hand up to the 12 o'clock position, move it over to the 3 o'clock position, like the arms of a clock, to our right knee, our left knee, over to the 9 o'clock position, and back up to the 12 o'clock position. As we do this, repeat after me. I clear my energy field of anyone or anything standing within. I bless them and I send them to the light. Om. Now, if you get distracted in the middle of the prayer somewhere, Christine Lang, a wonderful teacher in Charlotte, North Carolina, taught me to let it go and get back on my prayers by picturing those stray thoughts, those worries or whatever pops into our heads, as a ribbon blowing away on a beautiful wind, a beautiful breeze, and let it disappear off in the distance. And then I can get right back to my prayers. I can concentrate on them. Next thing we're going to do is ask God, how may I serve you? And we do it by taking our right hand over our hearts. And the answer usually comes in just 1 or 2 words, no long dissertation. To me, always just 1 or 2 words. And so we put our right hand over our hearts, and our prayers begin with, God, how may I serve you? Om. Now we're going to stand up and announce out loud what few words came to us. And we do this by standing, our palms facing outward. Here our prayers begin with, God, my intention to serve you is to Om. Now in Aramaic, we make this into a contractual agreement by saying the word Amen 3 times. This is like making it an oath to God. So here we'll sing it 3 times, any tone, any way you want. Amen. 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 Now we'll sit back down on the mats and lay down on our backs. And we start by pulling our right knee up to our chest. And here our prayers begin with, Father, I love you for, and Father, I thank you for. Om. Now we hold our right foot with our left hand, bring it over to our left thighs, and we let our right knee fall down to the mat. Our right arm goes straight up, stretched out above our heads, straight out and down to the mat. And here our prayers begin with, Father, I love you. Father, I thank you. Om. Now we take our switch hands, take our right foot in our right hand, holding it down to our pelvis. And this time our left arm goes straight up above our heads and down to the mat. And here our prayers begin with, Father, I love you. Father, I thank you. Om. Now we pull our right foot up to the heavens. And here our prayers begin with, Father, I love you. Father, I thank you. Om. Now we let our arms fall straight out from our shoulders, out to the sides, extending them out, palms up. And our right foot goes up into the heavens and falls out to the right side of our bodies. We open our pelvis as wide as we can. And here our prayers begin with, Father, I love you. Father, I thank you. Om. Now we turn our heads to the right and we take our right foot and cross our bodies over to the left side of our bodies, stretching our backs, and we hold our shoulders, keep them down to the mat as we stretch our backs. And here our prayers begin with, Father, I love you. Father, I thank you. Oh. Now we go back to resting position, our legs outstretched, our arms at our sides, and we pull our left knee up to our chest. Hold it there with our hands and arms, and here our prayers begin with, Mother, I love you for, and Mother, I thank you for. Om. Now we hold our left foot in our right hand and pull it over to our right thigh. And let our left knee, we hold our left foot in our right hand. Yeah, and our left knee goes down to the mat. Our left arm goes straight up above our heads, extended out and down to the mat. And here our prayers begin with, Mother, I love you. Mother, I thank you. Om. Now we switch hands. We take our left foot in our left hand, pull it down to our pelvis. Our right arm goes straight above our head, stretched out and down to the mat. And here our prayers begin with, Mother, I love you. Mother, I thank you. Om. Now we take our left foot and we point it up towards the heavens. And here, keeping our right hand above our heads, extended out to the mat. And here our prayers begin with, Mother, I love you. Mother, I thank you. Om. Now we let our arms extend straight out to the sides, palms up, and down to the mat. And our left leg goes up to the heavens and falls out to the left side of our bodies. And we open our pelvis as wide as we can. And here our prayers begin with, Mother, I love you. Mother, I thank you. Om. Now we turn our heads to the left, and our left leg crosses over our bodies over to the right side, and we keep our shoulders down on the mat as we stretch our backs. And here our prayers begin with, Mother, I love you. Mother, I thank you. Om. Now we go back to resting position, our arms outstretched, our feet outstretched, our arms at our sides, and we pull both knees up to our chest this time. And we hold them there. And here our prayers begin with, God, I love you for, and God, I thank you for. Om. Now we hold our right foot in our right hand and our left foot in our left hand. And we pull the soles of our feet together down near our pelvis. And here our prayers begin with, God, I love you. God, I thank you. Om. Now we pull our feet apart, keeping our feet down near our pelvis. And here our prayers begin with, God, I love you. God, I thank you. Om. Now we take our feet up towards the heavens and point both feet up towards the heavens. And here our prayers begin with, God, I love you. God, I thank you. Om. Now we drop our feet down to the mats near our pelvis, our knees up in the air. Our arms fall straight out to the sides this time, only this time they're palms down. We turn our heads to the left and our knees go to the right. And here our prayers begin with, God, God, I love you. God, I thank you. Oh. Now we turn our heads to the right and our knees go over to the left, stretching our backs, holding our shoulders down flat on the mat, our arms out, palms down. And here our prayers begin with, God, I love you. God, I thank you. Om. Now we go back to resting position, our feet outstretched, our arms at our sides, and we go into the surrender pose. Here we can surrender anything we want to God that might be troubling us. It might be getting in the way of our prayers. It might be guilt from something a long time ago. It might be fear. But we can surrender them all to God and He'll carry it away. We do this by putting our hands under our sit bones and lean up forward on our elbows and lean our heads back, trying to touch the tops of our heads back down to the mat. And here our prayers begin with, God, I surrender to you. Om. Now we go back to resting position, arms at our sides, our feet outstretched, and our left arm goes up to the heavens and falls over to the right side of our bodies, and we hold it there. We take our right arm, our right hand, halfway between our left elbow and left shoulder, and pull our left arm over farther, stretching our shoulder. And here our prayers begin with, God, I choose to. Om. Now we change arms. Our right arm goes up to the heavens and falls over to the left side of our bodies. And we take our left hand halfway between our right elbow and right shoulder, stretching it over farther. Here our prayers begin with, God, I can. Om. Now we go back to resting position, arms at our sides, our feet outstretched. And we're going into the tabernacle series where we form tabernacles with different parts of our bodies. A tabernacle is a house of God. So we pull our feet up to our pelvis, the soles of our feet together, our knees outstretched and down towards the mat. And we form a second tabernacle of our hearts by putting our hands in prayer position over our hearts and extending them up 2/3 of the way up to the heavens. And here our prayers begin. Well, no, here we find a beautiful chalice, God's beautiful chalice, filled with any gift, anything, that we might ever need or desire to be in service to God. Everything is there just for our asking. And so our prayers begin with, God, I drink from your chalice, your gifts of Now we form a tabernacle over our entire bodies by taking our hands and still in prayer position over the tops of our heads down to the mat, extending our arms out, down, our elbows down towards the mat. And here our prayers begin with, God, I thank you for my body, my mind, my spirit, and my soul. Now we're going to go into the anointing series, and we'll anoint whatever gifts from God that come to us, and we'll do it 3 different times. You can anoint anything you want. You can do the same thing over and over again. So we keep our hands in prayer position during all 3 of the anointings, and we take our thumbs up to our foreheads. And here our prayers begin with, God, I anoint your gifts of Om. Now we take our thumbs, still hands in prayer position, thumbs down to our lips, and here our prayers begin with, God, I bless your gifts of, and I dedicate them only in service to you. Om. Now we take our hands, still in prayer position, down over our hearts. And here our prayers begin with, God, I thank you for your gifts of, all. Now we do a movement, and the movement is we point our fingers down to our abdomens, to our pelvis, and extend our arms out to the 3 o'clock position, and then up, move them slowly up to the 12 o'clock position. And as we do this movement, our prayers begin with, God, I fill my body, my soul, my mind, and my spirit with your gifts of. Om. Now we start the second out of 3 in the anointing series. We take our thumbs back to our foreheads, and here our prayers begin with, God, I anoint your gifts of. Om. Now we take our thumbs down to our lips, and here our prayers begin with, God, I bless your gifts of, and I dedicate them only in service to you. Om. Now we move our hands in prayer position down over our hearts. And here our prayers begin with, God, I truly thank you for your gifts of. Om. Now we do the movement, pointing our fingers down towards our abdomens, extending our arms out to the 3 o'clock and then 12 o'clock positions. As we do this movement, our prayers begin with, God, I fill my body, my mind, my spirit, my soul with your gifts of. Om. Now we do the third and final in the anointing series. We take our thumbs back to our foreheads. Here our prayers begin with, God, I anoint your gifts of Om. Now we take our thumbs down to our lips, and here our prayers begin with, God, I bless your gifts of, and I dedicate them in service only to you. Om. Now we do our hands down in prayer position over our hearts. And here our prayers begin with, God, I truly thank you for your gifts of. Om. Now we point our fingers down into our abdomens, extending our hands out to the 3 o'clock and 12 o'clock positions. As we do this, our prayers begin with, God, I fill my mind, my body, my spirit, my soul with your gifts of. Om. Now we go back to resting position. Our arms at our sides, our feet outstretched. We cross our right ankle over our left ankle. We cross our right arm over our left arm, over our hearts. And here our prayers begin with, God, I truly thank you for your protection, your safety, and all. Now we go back to resting position. We roll over on our sides and we push ourselves back up into a sitting position with our arms and hands. We take our right leg and extend it straight out in front of us. Our left foot crosses over our right knee, and we hold our left knee with our right arm, and our left arm goes behind our backs for support. And we turn our heads and shoulders to the left. Here our prayers begin with, desire I am, desire I am, desire I am. I desire. Om. Now we take our left foot straight out in front of us. Our right foot goes across our left knee, and we hold our right knee with our left arm this time. Our right arm going behind our backs for support, and we twist our head and shoulders to the right. And this time our prayers begin with, will I am, will I am, will I am. I will. Om. Now we get up on our knees in prayer position. We hold our hands in prayer position over our hearts. And here our prayers begin with, God, I thank you. Om. Now we're going into child's pose, but we do it a little differently. We form a tabernacle with our hands by taking the tips of our thumbs together and the tips of our fingers together. And this is what we put our heads in as we bend over, putting our foreheads down on the mat in this tabernacle. Here we just feel God's love, nurturing, creation of new cells within our bodies. The truth, the knowledge that every cell needs to heal itself. And we just feel this entering our whole bodies, God's love. Om. Now we go back to sitting position. This time our right leg goes out to the right side. Our left foot comes up to the inside of our right leg, our right thigh. Here our prayers begin with, God, I am. Om. Now our left leg goes out to the left side, and our right foot comes over to the inside of our left thigh. And here our prayers begin with, God, I am. Om. Now we go back to sitting position. This time we hold our hands on our knees, palms up. Our thumbs touch our middle two index fingers. And we keep our back straight and we bow at our pelvis, bowing forward. And here our prayers begin with, I bow to my body, my mind, my spirit, my soul. Om. Now we sit back up straight and tall again and bow at our pelvis a second time. Bowing forward, our prayers begin with, God, I bow to you, to the Father, to the Mother, to the divinity within me. Om. Now we sit back up straight and tall and we feel where our pelvis is grounded to the earth, the left side and right side of our pelvis. And on the left side of our pelvis, where we're grounded, we feel the mother's beautiful white light filling our bodies with her love, her nurturing, her creation of new cells, recreating them. And as this white light fills our legs and it moves up into our abdomens, it moves up into our hearts, and it bursts out of our hearts, just shining this love of God. And it comes up through our lungs, up through our throats, up through our heads, and it fills our minds with God's love and peace and tranquility. And then it goes out the tops of our heads up into the heavens, the mother's white light, and it showers down upon the whole earth around us. And now we feel the right side of our pelvis, a blue light of the Father. The blue light of knowledge, of knowing how cells recreate, of knowing how each cell rebuilds itself in our bodies, how life keeps recreating itself. The knowledge, the knowing. We feel this beautiful blue light filling our legs to the fullest, this blue light filling our abdomens, every cell in our legs and our abdomens, and it comes up to our hearts, and it fills our hearts, and it shines, our hearts shine out like a beacon with this blue light. And it goes up through our lungs, through our neck, into our heads with truth that will always guide us. And it shines out the tops of our heads, up into the heavens, and showers down around us. And now we step up into the light above our heads. Here we can stay as long as we want, but we ask just one question. God, what do I need to know this day?